So last week I posted a video on whether or not I thought if a Nintendo 64 cartridge could fit Terraria, if you could shrink the game down by usually taking stuff out of the game to, I guess, shrink its file size and its storage capacity size and whatnot to fit onto a 64 megabyte cartridge. And you guys seem to like that. I mean, here is the video here. It is my most viewed video, my most liked video, and you guys really seem to like that. The comments were amazing. You helped me come up with so many ideas. I really love the feedback and talking to you guys in the comments. That was absolutely amazing. Some of you guys thought it was possible to make. Some of you thought that, man, we should get a team together and actually do this. Uh, there's other people in the comments let me know that, there are even smaller versions and on the PS4. There's the 360, PS3, 3DS, PS Vita, which all these sizes, especially like the PS Vita, its size ranges from 32 megabytes to 80 megabytes. So yeah, it's definitely seemingly possible to use one of those even smaller versions that still has a lot of content in, but to put onto an N64 cartridge. But then one of you posted this comment. It was one of the first comments, I believe, that was posted on that video, and it was by Gaming Tiger Plays 9269. Now that you finished that, I have a real challenge for you. Can you fit Half-Life 2 onto it, like an N64 cartridge, or Stardew Valley? That got me thinking. I've never played Half-Life 2. Or Half-Life, sorry. I have Half-Life 2, but I've never played that one either. But I have played Stardew Valley. And Stardew Valley is in a similar game size to Terraria. Terraria is about 400 and something megabytes, and I believe Stardew Valley is just over 500. Which is still smaller than I think. If you guys continue to give me suggestions, I'll continue to research and do videos on this sort of thing if this is possible. Like I said, we can call this series that, huh? But pretty much, Stardew Valley is again smaller than what I used last time, which was Resident Evil 2 being a true-to PS1 game crammed onto an N64 cartridge. Together, it was about 1.5 gigabytes of space. So I guess really games that are either slightly bigger than that or smaller probably have a chance, most likely, to be onto an N64 cart back in the day with the technology they had back in the day. So yeah, this video is going to be on whether or not Stardew Valley could fit onto an N64 cartridge. And here are my ideas. Here's how I think it could do that. And as well, really quick, again, I want to just make it clear, I don't have a background in coding or computer technologies or anything. I do have, just from playing games, a basic knowledge, and I do understand that, for example, if you take stuff out, that lowers the RAM size and that lowers the storage space, like how big the game is, and in the megabyte storage size, if you take stuff out, if you lower its resolution, if you lower the audio quality by either just making it slower, making it worse, or just even taking out audio tracks. I do understand that, but that's pretty much my entire basic knowledge. I would have no idea how to fit this onto an N64 cartridge. This is just more of a theory. Again, I have no background in technology like that whatsoever. So starting off, how would this game even work? I mean, how are you going to control it? If it were to fit onto an N64 cartridge, you'd usually use your classic Spider N64 controller. Well, I think being similar to Terraria makes help. It is a 2D game, but one of the more interesting things is there is a arrow that you can kind of use to search around, search certain things for your quests and whatnot. So the first thing I immediately is going to use is your stick is definitely going to be how you move. I think that just makes the most sense. Your left trigger and right trigger, your shoulder buttons, are going to be how you switch your items. The storage that you have is going to be a lot smaller. It might even just be that one bottom row. But again, it's going to be a lot smaller. And is going to be how you switch your items. It's the left and right trigger. Your Z button on the back, of course, is going to be how you dig, how you use the watering can, how you plant stuff, most likely, that sort of thing. Same with your certain tools as well, to mine trees and rocks and, till the ground with a hoe, that sort of thing. That'll be your Z button. Potentially moving your items around in your inventory, it will pop up the little arrow that you can use, so then you'll again continue to use your joystick. And then in Stardew Valley, I want to also point this out. There's a unique little item or area on the top right where you see your date, the time, your money, but there's also that little exclamation mark, and that's where you have like certain quests. To access that, you have to use the arrow to click that. Instead, we'll map that to a button, which will be one of the C buttons. Your start button will of course bring up your pause menu, but could also bring up your inventory, because in Stardew Valley your pause menu is in your inventory, and you switch by using the right and left triggers. That would be how you go from your map to the pause menu to maybe your inventory, if again you want to have a slightly bigger inventory than just the hotbar to there. That would be it. And I think that works well for a basic, simple control scheme. Again, you do have your A and B buttons, and those could be mapped to something else. Like A would be either opening doors, would be talking to people. Maybe A would be also giving stuff to people. Giving when you talk to someone and you have a flower in your hand and you give it to them, that would be the right button you use. A would be picking stuff up. A would be talking to your animals, putting the food and the vegetables into, say, the water into the dog's bowl, and hay into the animal's pen area where they eat. That would be what A would be. B, I couldn't really see anything what it could be mapped to. Maybe B could be something else, like in the inventory. It could be send something instantly to the trash. I don't know, but I believe those are all the basic stuff you really need to use. I mean, when you're accessing stuff in the inventory, it would be the A button to access it. But besides that, I think that is pretty much all the basic controls you would really need. A game that'll serve as the perfect example is actually Harvest Moon 64. As you can see, it's got farming in it. It's got stuff like fishing. And of course, there are other kinds of fish, like small, big, and medium, not very complicated. It's got stuff like foraging, which happens every season. There's new foraging items. There's a bunch of array of plants through all the seasons, except for winter. Of course, you can't grow anything unless you have a greenhouse. Then there are NPCs, a whole town with different stores and whatnot, stuff to upgrade your tools, like a blacksmith and that sort of thing. There's an entire event system, how there's like Easter and the Flower Festival and horse races and stuff like that. There are animals you can buy, from sheep, cows, and chickens, to get wool, milk, eggs that you can sell. Harvest Moon 64 is very similar in that regard. It's also somehow very similar to Resident Evil 2. You might ask how. Well, yes, you do go into buildings and stuff, and you do shift from area to area, but kind of like Resident Evil 2, although the areas are much bigger, you kind of change camera perspective. For example, when you go from the main farm to the area where there's a bunch of different pathways, it just it goes to transition, and then it's in a different camera view. The background never changes. It might move a little bit, kind of like it does in Resident Evil 2, but it's very similar to that, which probably helps the game run as well as it does. But anyways, we have the controls down. We gotta make it similar, I feel like, to Harvest Moon. Of course, Harvest Moon is a 3D game, though, or at least Harvest Moon 64 is. This game, Stardew Valley, with its 2D, pseudo 3D, is definitely more similar to, I'd say, Harvest Moon for the SNES. But I digress. What would we be taking out to shrink the game down? Well, we gotta take down half the vegetables, obviously, and a lot of the foraging items. There should be 2 foraging items, for example, daffodils and I think they're called salmon berries, should only be in spring, and that's it. There's 4 in every season, like hazelnuts and plums and blackberries in fall. Just make it like hazelnuts and plums. For example, there should be 2 foraging items per season, except for winter. Again, I'm pretty sure, I haven't played Harvest Moon 64 in a bit, but it has no foraging items in the winter. That should be similar. Once again, all the vegetables can be cut, taken out, whatever. You can keep all the most of the events in, but for example, the vegetables that would be cut, it has parsnips, potatoes, and I believe cabbage or lettuce in Harvest Moon 64. Stardew Valley could do something similar, like have potatoes, parsnips, and maybe cabbage. Again, you could copy the same thing, and again, that's 3. The summer only has 2. The summer could have 2 or 3. The fall has 2 or 3. The fall could have 2 or 3, like corn and whatnot. Again, you keep it very trimmed down and very similar to Harvest Moon, so that they both run well. Shrinking the farm down massively would be a big thing. Taking out that cave where foraging items can spawn would be a good thing. Making the greenhouses making it smaller, and then of course the inside would be massive. That would be fine. I think that would be a good thing. Having the entire starting area be as big as it is in Stardew Valley is just too unrealistic, I guess. The town might need to be smaller. I mean, we need to cut out some of the people. I think probably cutting out the entire Joja Mart and community center story event is fine. Take all that stuff out. I know the bus takes you to the desert where you can do stuff like that. I don't see that being possible, sadly, which even though it's a lot of fun to go and gamble in that part of the game, I think you'd also probably have to take that out. Again, you can't go anywhere in Stardew or in Harvest Moon 64, so you probably shouldn't be able to do that in Stardew Valley as well. Shrink the town, shrink all that stuff, make it smaller. Again, with all that stuff it has to load in, if you just make it smaller, cram the houses a little bit closer together, like the town is in Harvest Moon 64, it would probably look, play, and run a lot better than it does. In Harvest Moon 64, for marriage candidates, there are, I think, 4. In Stardew Valley, there's like 6 or 7 females and 6 or 7 males. Again, you gotta shrink that down quite a bit. Like, again, that means cutting out a lot of NPCs, which would also cut down some buildings where they live, which would save some space. The fish would have to be cut down a lot. There's all sorts of fish and junk. Get rid of the junk items that you can get rid of the fishing nets that can collect fish. The only fish you can get, maybe there could probably be more than just small, medium, and large, but maybe like 2 fish that you can get in the ocean. And, you know, for summer, fall, and whatever, they're all the same, and then winter it might be different. Same with the rivers and the pond and whatnot, it's different. In the starting select screen, you can actually choose a different farm, but I chose the basic farm, because in our version of Stardew Valley that we want on the N64 cartridge, it probably wouldn't have any other farm, it would just be one basic farm. Now, again, I haven't played Harvest Moon 64 in a bit, but as it goes on, you can upgrade, like, unlock certain parts of the mountain, like the spa. You can do that in this game too. There is a spa in this game. You unlock that. That makes sense. You unlock the mine. Again, that makes sense. You can unlock the mine in Stardew Valley. It probably would not go down as deep as it does, as I think like 120 levels. It would probably go down like 20. I don't know. But that sort of thing. Get rid of a lot of the items that you get, like a lot of the minerals. The minerals that would stay would be copper, silver, and gold, and there would be no iridium because, again, in Harvest Moon 64, I'm going to go back to it, it doesn't have iridium stuff, it only has gold as the best tools that you can upgrade. So it would be similar. Your tools can only be upgraded to gold, which would be more efficient or better. Sprinklers were in the first Harvest Moon, but they weren't in the Harvest Moon 64, which is weird to me. There wouldn't be iridium sprinklers. Heck, there might not even be the really good sprinklers, like the average ones, but there would definitely be normal sprinklers that you could add. I think that would be fair. Maybe there would be a secret fruit or vegetable you could get at one of the festivals. Let's talk about the festivals then now. Like, say for the flower festival, you can get strawberries. Maybe you keep those in, but that's like the only secret one. Maybe because there's limited time for spring, you get them for your greenhouse and they sell them and make the most money. That sort of thing. Then you'd, of course, have like Halloween, and you would have maybe like the trade fair. You would have a horse race. Maybe even a horse race every single month, as again the months are spring, summer, fall, winter. That's really it. Again, there wouldn't be as many items like food or stuff like that. It would be a lot more simple. Although a lot of the like special events would be a lot shorter than they are, like the dream events and stuff with your love interest, certain things like that. Again, it would be a lot more toned down and smaller. And I think, like here, the fisherman, it's very long and dragged out. He just, you know, you maybe don't even make this live end. You just have to talk to him. He'll give you a fishing rod, and boom, there you go. You're on your way. Like Harvest Moon is, actually. I think that's all the stuff I would really change, and I think that's how you would shrink it down to be fit onto a 64 megabyte cartridge. But again, finally here, I want to thank Gaming Tiger Plays 9269 for the video idea. I mean, I thought this was a really interesting one, and it's the game I've played, so I know. I mean, if you guys want to see this style of video again, let me know. If I have, you know, suggest a bunch of games, and I will, you know, down in the comments, and I will, if I have the game, I'll go out of my way and play it. It might not mean the next style video I do of this, because you guys clearly seem to like it, so I'll definitely do more. It won't mean it might not be the game you wanted right away, but if I do have it, I'll play it, and I'll get to it eventually. And heck, maybe we don't even have to just stick to the 64 megabyte cartridges. The GameCube discs were still extremely small, 1.6 something gigabytes. I know that's a lot bigger, but there were games like GTA San Andreas that didn't go to the GameCube because of how massive the game is, and probably because it was M-rated, but still, maybe we'll do other consoles, but for now we'll stick with the N64. Again, let me know if you guys have any comments down below to see if you want to, you know, suggest a video game, and I'll see if I can come up with a theory. if it would work onto a small cartridge like the N64. Just again, before we end it off here, though, guys, I do want to say we're really close to 200 subs. We're in like the 180s, 190s, so it'd really be awesome to get to 200 subs by the end of the year. Hope you guys did enjoy nonetheless. Maybe leave a like, maybe leave a nice comment down below, maybe hit that subscribe button, fatain the little bell. I'm dying, and I'll see you guys next time for another retro video. Bye, guys.